Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the corner. Welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Well, also not just news, but post-match reaction. Sorry, yesterday, the watch-along. It's in zombie hours. It was my brother's wedding, final event of the wedding. And by the time I came home, I was way too tired. Zombie hours, you do need some sleep beforehand. But luckily enough, I got to watch the first half where all the goals were. In the second half, I had to tap out. I tapped out in the second half, and I said, you know what? I need to go and go to bed. But look, we're going to talk about the match. Of course, we're going to talk about the match. We're going to big up Malo Gusto. We're going to big up, Cole Palmer. We're going to big up a few other players, Robert Sanchez as well. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, post-match, the thing that really took over was Enzo Maresca's comments, which was quite interesting. Let's see what we make out of these comments. You tell me in the comment section how you took it. We're going to go through the news first, just quickly. This is what Enzo Maresca said post-match. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea 2, Everton 0. Really, really good victory. No two ways about it. A really good victory. We'll talk about the performance, especially the first half, because that's all I've seen. I really haven't watched the second half. But I think it's important to talk about what happened post-match first. Maresca, since I joined the club, the last 48 hours have been the worst since I joined the club because many people didn't support us. I mean, this is quite scathing. This is quite deep. This guy is opening up his heart and he's letting out his emotions. Let's repeat this again. Since I joined the club, so it's been nearly 2 years, right? Well, is it going to be 2 years? 1.5 years. 1.5 years since I joined the club. The last 48 hours have been the worst since I joined the club because many people didn't support us. So the last 48 hours, obviously, picking up the loss against Atalanta. Prior to that, draw against Bournemouth. Prior to that, loss against Leeds. So have that in your mind for a second. Now, the second part of this news, ladies and gentlemen, is Maresca. I had the feeling people did not support me or the team in general. I had the feeling people did not support me or the team in general. I do love the fans. Very happy with them. So how many people are involved here? So you got the fans, but he's happy with the fans. You've got the owners, sporting directors. I mean, are we talking about them? Since I joined the club, the last 48 hours have been the worst since I joined the club because many people didn't support us. Who are these many people? I mean, are they journalists? Journalists are never going to support you anyway. Journalists have never supported anyone. Journalists are there to create news. Players, perhaps. His own backroom staff, I don't know. Owners and directors, wow. I mean, for me, it feels like maybe he's hearing some murmurs within the structure, within the hierarchical structure, people that are involved in the backroom staff and, close to the sporting directors, close to the owners, all the people that are in and around that vicinity. Maybe he's hearing some rumors. Maybe, Indy Kyler, for example, as I said, when I went through Indy Kyler's news, wherever there is a little bit of smoke, there's a little bit of fire. It's not too crazy or far-fetched to think that some people internally might not feel 100% in what Enzo Maresca does all the time. Now, having said that, obviously he's upset. Now, let's talk about this situation. He's had a real go after the match. There's videos about it. And he's had a real go that last 48 hours, he did not enjoy one bit. Now, I want to say this about Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca, this season, I don't know whether this guy is aware. Chelsea Football Club, we want to make something out of this season. Us fans, we're serious about this season. So when we drop points against Brentford, people only think about Atalanta or they think about Leeds. But let's remind, Brentford, Man United, Brighton, Sunderland, Leeds, Bournemouth, Atalanta, Qarabag. Like, there's a lot. What's that? That's 8 already. And I'm pretty sure I've missed out on a few. Fan base wants to ensure we have an important season. I've been saying, let's have a season where we compete for the Premier League title, where we compete in all fronts, domestic cups and the Champions League. I'm not saying go out there and win it, but be in the close vicinity. Arsenal struggled against Wolves. They lost against Aston Villa. Had we picked up a few more points, we would have been there. I know there's flaws in this squad. I know the owners and the sporting directors don't get away so easily. They could have done a lot more. But what we assembled is not bad. It's not bad at all. It can do a job. It can do more than a job. Now, in all of these matches that I've highlighted, the ones where we faltered, as a large portion of it where Enzo Maresca has been highly culpable, directly culpable. So you can understand, Enzo Maresca, why certain parts of you're happy with the fan base. Clearly, you're not happy with someone, or certain people within the club. But you have to understand, Enzo Maresca, that there's a reason why certain people are a little bit frustrated. We're not asking for your head. No. Not once have I said Enzo Maresca out. I know there's people out there who are saying Enzo Maresca out, but I'm not saying it. Majority of the people are not saying it. What we're saying is utilize the squad to the fullest. Utilize the squad to its absolute peak, level that it can get to. Don't create your own mess. Don't be doing a whole heap of nonsense stuff, which then ends up bringing negative results. That's when we start becoming a little bit confused. Off the back of this victory against Everton, ladies and gentlemen, people are already starting to forget all the shenanigans that took place earlier on this season. Whether we got a red card and nonsense substitutions happened, whether it was just nonsense starting lineup with Tosin and this, that, the other, whether there was nonsense substitution with Atalanta. The bottom line is, Enzo Maresca, you've made mistakes. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Everton game. I fully remember the first half because that's when I was still awake. In the second half, I was feeling a lot sleepy. But the first half, I'll tell you this much. And correct me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen, if you saw something else in the second half, right? First half, I have to be honest. And you're going to be lying to yourself if you think, I'm talking out of line here. It almost felt like at times Everton was the home team. They had quite a lot of possession. They were boxing us in. They were very unlucky not to score in few, opportunities that they had in the first half. We actually took the game against the grain, to be honest. We weren't really producing wave after wave after wave attacks and then penetrating them. It was, I'd have to say, a lot of it was them in the first half. We scored against the wave here. Lovely goals, don't get me wrong. And I want to big up Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto, really, really good performance, man. Really good performance. But is this sustainable, though? The way he played in the half spaces, lovely pass for Cole Palmer, by the way. That's a proper number 10 style of pass. You know what I mean? Setting Cole Palmer through. And a lovely finish from Cole Palmer. And then the second one, lovely counter-attack starting from Robert Sanchez. I believe then it was to Pedro Neto, who drove. By the way, this is why I like Pedro Neto. I know a lot of you guys don't like him. I've liked him all along. And then he cut in, squared it for Malo Gusto, who scored. So the bottom line is, it worked out. Malo Gusto has worked out, and he's worked out in a few of the other matches as well. But there's been a lot of matches we can pick out where it hasn't worked out. That's what I'm trying to get to. That, can we find some form of sustainability? Can Enzo Maresca, once you've made a mistake, please learn from it and don't make that mistake again. And please, this season, let's make it an important season. Let's try and do something about it. So when I see these type of news, I mean, okay, fine, you vented. You have the right to vent. You're a human being as well, Enzo Maresca, but people have the right to question. They have the right to question some of this, decisions you've taken this season. So, ladies and gentlemen, you let me know what you think about these comments from Enzo Maresca. Before we come back to the final part of the news, I want to now talk a little bit about the match in itself. First of all, look, the lineup. I would have liked to have Estevar, starting at home, but clearly looks like Estevar, off the back of that match against Leeds, I don't know whether he's been protected. I don't know. I'm not really sure. This kid is a Brazilian international player. At home, I want to play with a little bit more, of an impetus and be a bit more aggressive, because Everton took the game to us. We played on the counter. We won, fantastic. I have no qualms about that. But I don't like the way we went about things, because I think we can be a lot more on the front foot. Fantastic. Reece James, had a good game. Malo Gusto had a good game. Cucurella at times inverted, but I'd like to see Andre Santos as well. Andre Santos can do a really, really good job on midfield. Now, I get it. This is Enzo Maresca's team. I fully understand that. A lot of people are like, oh, Miz, look at this guy. He's complaining. You guys are the same people that are complaining when this same setup doesn't seem to work out. And it didn't work out in previous matches. In high caliber matches, this setup that Enzo Maresca put out yesterday, yes, it's done well. But there have been matches where this same setup hasn't worked out. Let's not sit here and try and act dumb that, oh, it's worked out against Everton, and try and look back at the catalog of the games where it didn't work out. Playing Pedro Neto and Garnacho, I have no qualms about playing one of them, but you need to have a little bit more flair with the other one. I know Cole Palmer's back, but allow Cole Palmer to play with Esteban. Enzo Maresca, you yourself have said both of them can play in the same team. This is why people are coming in to pay the money. You talk about balance. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Esteban Willian doesn't work hard. I know he doesn't work as hard as Pedro Neto and Garnacho, perhaps, but Esteban Willian gives a lot more than them going forward. I love Pedro Neto, by the way. This is not a slight, a dig on Pedro Neto. Garnacho, on the other hand, had a stinker. He missed a couple of really easy chances, open goal chances. Done well off the ball to win the ball, but then missed. The bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, our manager, you want to come out publicly and say all of that stuff. The last 48 hours has been very difficult for you, but you also have to remember a lot of these, difficulties that you're feeling, you've brought it on yourself. You've brought it onto yourself, and it didn't need to be like that. This is why I felt all along we should be competing for the Premier League title. We really should be. Our squad's good. Even without Cole Palmer, I'm so glad he's back, and we've been saying it. This absolute superstar for an attacker is back, and that's great news for Chelsea, and straight away into the goals. Do you know what I mean? Goals column. But he himself, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. I wouldn't say I'm at my best yet. I'm still dealing with an injury. Hopefully it gets better and better, but there's still a bit to go. Don't do too much too soon. Absolutely. Look, I'm glad he's not going to play midweek against Cardiff. And I hope he's ready for the Newcastle game. I'm looking at the Newcastle game, and I'm looking at, go for it. Go for it. You've shown that you can do something against Everton. Don't get me wrong. Everton are no numpties. They're a good team. Have a look at their form. This is a very good victory. Although, yeah, on another day, maybe Everton would have scored. It wasn't some sort of like a absolute masterclass from Chelsea Football Club. But it was a victory. Did Enzo Maresca warrant saying what he said post-match? I don't know. Me personally, I don't think he did. Because the fans, even though he said that he's not upset with the fans, whoever it is in the background, I think people got the right to question Enzo Maresca's certain decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. Let's see how we go. Great victory. Keeps us going forward. But we can't falter. We can't keep faltering. We can't have these inconsistencies. It needs to be an important season. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about all of this that I've talked about. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya.